Mahamantra a little bit for Jai Radha Madhava. That's okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Ballava Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yashodanandana Braja Janarandana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Krishna 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 Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Satarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Adhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamayam Shri Guru Vaisnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Visabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today, for the devotees in Zoom, in ISKCON Central New Jersey, we're reading continuation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, and Chapter 15, entitled Description of the Kingdom of God, text number 8. Yashya vacha praja sarva gavastantyeva yantrita haranti valim ayatash tasmai mukyayati namah. Yasya vacha praja sarva gavastantyena yantrita haranti valim ayatash tasmai mukyayati namah. Yasya bacha praja sarva gavastantyeva yantrita haranti valim ayatas tasmai mukyayate namaha. Word for word meaning, Yasya, of whom, vacha, by the Vedic directions, praja, living entities, sarva, all, gava, bulls, Tantya, by rope, iva, as, yantrita, are directed. Haranti, offer, take away. Balim, presentation, ingredients for worship. Ayata, under control. Tasmai, unto him. Mukyaya, unto the chief person. Te, unto you. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. To the chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respect. Purport. The Vedic literature are the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot violate the injunctions given in the Vedic literatures any more than one can violate the state laws. Any living creature who wants real benefit in life must act according to the direction of the Vedic literature. The conditioned souls who have come to this material world for material sense gratification are regulated by the injunctions of the Vedic literature. Sense gratification is just like salt. One cannot take too much or too little, but one must take some salt in order to make one's foodstuff palatable. Those conditioned souls who have come to this material world should utilize their senses according to the direction of the Vedic literature. Otherwise, they will be put into a more miserable condition of life. No human being or demigod can enact laws like those of the Vedic literature because the Vedic regulations are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Again, the translation. All the living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. The chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respectful obeisances. So the demigods continue praying to Lord Brahma, addressing Lord Brahma, being a representative of the Supreme Lord. They want to become free from this miserable condition of life, and therefore they're praying to Lord Brahma somehow to help them also become relieved from this miserable condition. Knowingly that there's going to be a big disaster because of the pregnancy of Diti from Kashyapa Muni. There's going to be a big demon. It's going to be coming out soon. Not really demon, but that's part of the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So in this way, the translation again saying that all the living entities within the universe are under the control of the Supreme Lord, and He is the permitter, He is the controller, and He is the observer also. And indirectly, the Supreme Lord governs the entire material world, each and every universe, that there is the Sastra. There is the Sastra, which govern and give directions towards the living entities, how they should live their life how they should conduct their life. And so the demigods, they are knowingly that the Supreme Lord is the chief person, and he's the one who, he's the origin of the Vedas. The Vedas, or the Vedic literature. Veda means knowledge. It gives us information how we should conduct ourselves, um, even though material desires is there for the living entities to be fulfilled. Even those who have material desires to enjoy the material energy with their material senses, then the Supreme Lord give guidelines how this can be done. So the Vedas means knowledge. Prabhupada says Vedas means like our mother. Mother can give information of the father. If we ask our father, who is our father, to our mother, then she can give a very clear description of who is the father. Well, we don't go outside and ask everyone, do you know who's my father? Have you seen my father? Maybe someone can tell us who is our father. Maybe he is a friend of our father. But more likely, practically 99.99%, who doesn't know our father, they will not have any clue. So ultimately, our mother can tell who is our father. So similarly, the knowledge coming from the Vedas gives us information how we can elevate ourselves ultimately to understand the conclusion. Vadais sarvair aham eva vadya vedantakrit vedavid eva chaham. Of all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedas. Vedais sarvair aham eva vidya. He is to be known ultimately, especially when one comes to the Upasana Kanda, because there are three parts of the Vedas, namely Karma Kanda section, the Jnana Kanda section, and then Upasana Kanda section. For those who wish to fulfill their desire to enjoy the material world, there is a certain guidelines how one can do so. But it doesn't mean that if one wants to enjoy the material energy, one is not culpable, one will not get the reaction of his activities. The reaction is that further entanglement in this material world into so many species of life, 8,400,000 species of life. So the demigods, they're offering the respects to the chief person, by whose words, the Vedas, all the living beings make offerings. He's the controller. That means the words of the Lord are like the rope. It controls. And also, he says here, his names are also ropes. Is our connection that the Vedas are sound vibration that gives us ways how we can reconnect our ourselves to the Supreme Lord. So the Vedas are like connection for us so that ultimately we'll be able to uncover our real self towards the Supreme Lord. Vacha, it says here, Vacha. Vacha means by the Vedic directions. Vedic directions coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the rope is like compared to a rope that connects us towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means that the Vedic literatures are laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. there is a higher being that supervise the material creation, that one has to follow this law of nature. When we say law of nature, that means there's one who gave that law, um, that everyone, especially in the human platform, one has to follow. Because human platform is a platform of whereby we'll be able to revive our original Krishna consciousness. It's a life of responsibility. Um, Unlike the lower species of life, the animals, they don't know how to follow the law, and they're exempted to follow the law. That's why they already attained that lower species of life. That means the reaction of their previous activities is there, is been awarded or been given to them, and which means that while they are in that platform, they're exempted from the laws of nature. And Prabhupada give an example, just like uh, in a city or in the state of Jersey, New Jersey, we have to follow certain rules here. It's like there is a red light. When it turns green, we go. But when it turns red, we stop the car. We cannot go beyond. We can, no problem, but then we'll get a ticket. There'll be a camera that will flash and take the license plate, and then we will be just sent our ticket. We have to pay the challan. We have to pay the offense that we have committed, because there's a traffic law or there's a specific speed limit. And if you go past that and some other, there is a state patrol, then you will be given a ticket for over speeding. But the animals, let's say a cat or a dog crossing a red light, I don't think the police will say, hey, I'm sorry, my dear Labrador, or my dear German Shepherd, I'm sorry, you crossed a red light, I'm going to give you a ticket. No. They're exempted. They're knowingly that their consciousness is so low that they don't understand what is proper and what is not proper action. So the Vedic literature give us injunctions, give us rules, give us directions. And if we violate that, then there is a resultant reaction. It's what you call karma. If one performs sinful activities, disregarding the laws of nature, laws of God, again, laws of nature means laws of God, laws of Krishna, then there is a reaction, and no one can escape that. No one can say, I'm sorry, I did not know the rule, I did not know the law. In English, there is what you call ignorance is bliss. That doesn't apply to the law of nature. That if you don't know, you are exempted. The Prabhupada gave another example, just like a child. A child, he wants to touch the candle light, the flame. Now, even though he is a child and he doesn't know that the flame of the candle will burn him, if he touch the flame, there is no exemption for that. That, oh, he's a child, he doesn't know what he's doing, therefore he will not be burned. He will get burned. So, yes, we have to understand that there is certain law of nature that we have to follow. Whether we know it or doesn't know it, it will have certain reaction. And that laws of nature is been enunciated by the Supreme Lord himself. Dharmat tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Only the Supreme Lord can set this law of nature, or he can set the dharma. Dharma, that means the eternal nature of the living entities is to serve the Supreme Lord. So everyone has to serve, but if we serve besides the Supreme Lord, then there is a reaction, karma. But if we serve the Supreme Lord wholeheartedly with love and devotion, then there is no more karma if all of our activities are focused in that way. So if we really want, Prabhupada says here, if we really want to benefit in the human form of life, the human form of life, we have responsibility and there is a goal. There is a purpose. Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now that we have come into this human platform, now is the time to inquire about the absolute. The Jiva Atmas, they are Brahman, but there is Para-Brahman. We have to somehow uncover our real self and understand how we can revive our original Krishna consciousness. And this is the nature of the soul, to serve Lord Krishna. So to revive our original Krishna consciousness, we have to follow the rules, the directions, the injunctions, the purpose of the Vedas. Ultimately, the purpose of the Vedas is to help us ultimately to become Krishna conscious. We can have a choice not to follow it, but then again, it is for our benefit to follow it. It is for our benefit to know what is the Vedas. And the essence of the Vedas, it says, is the Bhagavad Gita, the ABC of spiritual knowledge. But it is also the essence, because we don't have enough one lifetime to read the Vedas. The nature of the Vedas also is very difficult to understand, is very flowery. And therefore, one can only understand the import of the Vedas from a bona fide representative of the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master. Our life is very short. If we can live, 84 years, it says 84 years divided in 21, 21, 21. Because it's very significant that one learn every aspect in those 4 divisions. Supposedly we should live for 100 years. Our parents, yes, they live 80s, in their 80s, 85, 86. Like my mother is 86. We're lucky if we live 70 years or 80 years old, also like them. So our life is very short and we don't have much time. We don't have enough time to read all the Vedas, all the Vedic literatures. But if we can understand, as Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, then that will equip us to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, especially if we hear them from the right source. And that's what we're doing every day, reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's been translated and also explained through his purport, Srila Prabhupada's purport. We associate with the pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, the book Bhagavat. So we have come to this material world due to the desire to be happy separate from Krishna. We've mentioned this in many meetings that we conducted, that we turn our face away from Krishna. We wanted to be happy, separate from the Supreme Lord. And that is not possible in the spiritual world. We cannot be happy separate from Krishna there, because Krishna is all pervading. He's also all pervading here, but in his Bhagavan feature in the spiritual world. So we cannot experience that desire to be happy separate from Krishna. Another world has to be created by the Supreme Lord due to our desire to be happy, to fulfill our material desires. Having ourselves cut off our being with Krishna, that means having material desire. That is a material desire. That desire to be happy separate from Krishna, to fulfill the sense enjoyment with the sense objects, that means that is material desires. And therefore, the material world was created. This out of compassion of the Supreme Lord towards us to fulfill our desire. But it is not possible to fulfill one's material desires, sense enjoyment, because it only pertains to the body, the sense pleasure, the happiness that one derives from fulfilling the desire to enjoy the sense objects with the senses. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end, because it is material. And in the beginning, it may taste like nectar, but in the end, it is like poison. Because instead of becoming happy all the time, there is an end to this happiness. And that happiness, the result of enjoying the material energy, will create more and more further miseries, birth after birth. And according to our desires, we acquire a different form, material body. That's why there are 8,400,000 species of life. It says that there are also 8,400,000 different desires that one can have. And only in that species of life that one can fulfill one's desire to be happy materially. So in order to get out of this cycle of repeated birth and death, in order for us to disentangle ourselves, we have to live a regulated life based from the injunctions of the Vedic literature. And in the Vedic literatures, in the Vedas, it says that if you want to fulfill your material desires, because everyone somehow or other has to have a little bit of sense enjoyment, but there are certain regulations that one should follow in order to attain that. Knowingly, ultimately, that, my further entanglement in this material world is due to my desire to enjoy this material world. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that sense enjoyment is like, in order to be happy in the material world, you have to add a little bit of this following the injunctions of the Vedas, but at the same time, it should not be too little and it should not be just enough. Prabhupada gave an example here. Sense gratification is just like salt. This coming from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Everyone has to have some sense enjoyment. Like for the brahmacharis, our sense enjoyment is kirtan, dancing in front of the deities, discussing harikatha, having prasadam, association with the devotees, and that's it. No more. But that is the highest sense pleasure. That means the highest purifying our senses in that way. So for the Grihasta especially, Grihastas, they're given this license to enjoy, but it should not be overindulgence. Like for the Grihastas, they are allowed to have a child. So there is some sense enjoyment in that way. But again, it's a great responsibility because the Shastra says that one should not be a father, one should not be a king, one should not be a teacher or a guru if he cannot liberate his subjects. It's not like cats and dogs' life have many, many kittens or have many, many puppies, but then they'll be abandoned by the mother or the father eventually. No. So the injunction is there, or sense gratification, license. A little bit of sense gratification is given to the grihastas. But one cannot take too much or too little. But one must take some salt in order to make life a little bit more in a way that it is enjoyable. It says the grihasta life without children is not really grihasta life. It's not householder life. One must have a children also, but one must be very, very careful and responsible to bring the child and let the child grow up to be Krishna conscious, an ideal personality. So we have to utilize everything for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord according to the scriptures. Whatever comes to us, we should use it for Krishna's service. Whatever Krishna has given to me, I should also offer them back to Krishna. Whatever is given to me, we don't have that rights. We can misuse, but then again, there is a reaction. There is karma in that way. And this will lead us into miserable condition of life. Just like if one has a job and then the results or the fruits of his activities is not utilized partly to serve Krishna or in propagating Krishna consciousness or to help those who propagate Krishna consciousness, then we will incur more and more karma. It is considered as a sin, actually. We should give back some of those fruits to Krishna and divide them accordingly to our needs, like to our family members. And also we can save a little bit just in times of emergency. We have to. But if we say, this is my hard-earned money, and therefore I know whatever I want to do about it, I can do it. No one can stop me. Fine, but then no one can also save you from having karma. That's why the direction of the Vedic literature has to be followed. It is the responsibility of in human form of life to know what is to be done and what is not to be done. This is the difference between human form and animal form. It is a life of responsibility. Otherwise, no, everyone actually is under the jurisdiction. That's why there is what you call laws of Manu. I was just reading that. There's a law of Manu. Manu is the father of mankind. He's the one who wrote the different directions, different rules, different laws for everyone Other one is a brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas, how to conduct oneself, even marriage. I was just reading. Yes, everything has to be according to the laws of Lord Krishna. And these laws of Manu, this is where the word man came from, Manu. Yes, this Manu Samhita. So we have to follow this. This is part of the Vedas. Otherwise, if we act disregarding and not knowing the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of the Sastras like the Vedas, or especially the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, then we are culpable. We are responsible for the reaction. So we have to somehow or other understand. And it is the mercy of the Supreme Lord that it became so easy to follow in the age of Kali. Just by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one becomes purified, and automatically, even this law of the Supreme Lord will automatically be followed, because all the good qualities will manifest to the one who chants the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Okay, I will stop here. You have any question or questions or comments? Hari Bol.
Thank you very much.
I just explain it the way I understood the verse, and just we have to follow the rules and regulations. That's what it says.
It was very nice, Maharaj, to emphasize that point of following the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Maharaj. I think there are no questions.
What time the class is supposed to be over? 7:15?
7.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, Maharaj. You came for the first time, and it's my mistake. I should have mentioned that, but that's all right. So,
is there any questions? I'm sure some of you may have some question. Don't be shy.
no.
Anyone? Or any feedback, any reflection? Can we see the rest of your group, their faces or something? I've seen 4, and I've seen, yes. Are they there, or they're, maybe they're
many may be preparing to go to work because morning time is.
Yeah, it's okay. I just a glimpse. Satyabhama is there, Savita, Simheswar, Gunjan, but they're not showing their lotus faces. At least early in the morning, it's very auspicious to see the faces of the devotees before you go to work. Thank you very much for your engaging me and giving me this opportunity to serve you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So it is a wonderful class, and you pointing a lot of important points in your lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure most of you may be going to Ratha Yatra in New York, so Krishna willing, we'll see you there also as well. Thank you very much. I don't want
Thank
to
you.
hold you up anymore because I know you're still gonna go to work. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari
Hari,
Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you,
Thank you
Maharaj.
very
Shukriya.
much.
Thank you
Hari
very
Krishna.
much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hari Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jabad.
Then we'll end here. I already overboard, so correct.